Good morning and a very warm welcome to London Gatwick. Guys, today we're flying with JetBlue for the very first time in their economy cabin through to Boston. It'll be my very first time, not quite sure what to expect. Let's check it out together. I'm not sure how typical this is for a Sunday morning here at Gatwick, but it's absolutely gloriously quiet. Just been seeing on the board that check-in zones will be zone A today. You can see just ahead, it's really nice and quiet. So let's get checked in and see what the experience is like, and then it'll be through, hopefully, for a little bit of breakfast. JetBlue make it as easy as can be when it comes to the check-in. They had a 1, 2, 3 step process. You simply check yourself in, print out your bag tag, and then go through to the desk where they'll help you from there. Nice and easy start. That's the check-in done. Nice, seamless experience, save for the fact that my travel agent didn't pass the cost of the baggage onto the airline, so just had to pay for that. Again, won't name and shame them at this point in time, not yet, just at least, but that'll be something for me to follow up afterwards. Anyway, for now, it's time to make full advantage of this very quiet morning at Gatwick through security, and then on for some breakfast. Now, I was pleased to report that I did eventually get a full reimbursement from the travel company. This is something that JetBlue do see quite regularly, so this is something to check out, guys. If you are booking through a third-party travel agent, do just make sure that those bags that you've added ahead of time, if indeed you've done so, have found their way onto the booking. After navigating through the myriad of Gatwick duty-frees, it was then on to find somewhere decent for breakfast. I opted for the Breakfast Club on that particular morning, didn't do one of the paid lounge accesses. You do have many options on that particular front at London's Gatwick. But instead, on this particular day, opted for a quick restaurant breakfast and then headed down to the gate from there. Alright, so that's the boarding gate called, and I'll shortly be jumping on board. Just ahead of doing so, I should say the channel has just hit its 2-year anniversary. I just wanted to take a quick minute in this video to say thank you so much to all of you, genuinely, who have tuned in to this channel over the years. I didn't think for 1 minute that the channel would have picked up to the extent that it has done, and it's been an absolute pleasure bringing those videos to you. So here's to so many more over the coming years. Guys, should also say, if this is your first time tuning into the channel, as so many of you do on a daily basis, it'd be great to have you subscribed. I've got so much more upcoming on the channel from the likes of Qatar Airways, British Airways, and so many more. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button. Let's get on board this flight. Well, as expected, the aircraft taking me over the pond on that particular morning was to be an Airbus A321 NEO, nice and new. Wasn't quite sure how I felt about a narrow-bodied jet all the way over to the States. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Would you travel over to the States on a plane so small? Let me know. Just before we board, we'll have a quick look at the seat map, courtesy of some of the upgrades that were available before I departed. These were just for the extra legroom seats. We'll check those out. I didn't opt for one. I went for a window seat a little bit further back. On boarding the aircraft, we went through JetBlue's Mint. This is like their transatlantic business class. Seats here laid out in a 1-1 format. It looked really good. Here are those slightly more comfort seats, and then the standard seats just here towards the back. Progressing further into the standard section, first impressions were actually very decent. In terms of space, JetBlue claimed to have some of the most generous legroom in economy. I would say this was around 34 or so inches. Just for reference, as I jump into the seats, I'm 180 centimeters or around 6 foot. Waiting for passengers at the seats was a very comfortable little blanket and an amenity kit, which we'll check out a little bit later as well. On the rear of the seat, I found a very modern and very large seatback entertainment screen. There was also then a high-powered USB charger as part of that setup. Also, just down towards the footwell was then a universal power adapter and an additional USB plug. When it came to charging, they really had passengers very well covered indeed. And last but not least, as part of our cabin review, overhead they had individual air vents and also individual reading lights. Overall, in terms of first impressions, it was a thumbs up from me. Now as we push back and taxi, quick reminder that a little bit later in the video I'm going to explore more of this cabin. I'm going to head up to that slightly more premium section and see what the legroom is like for those slightly upgraded seats. But for now, I'll bring down the music so you can enjoy this fantastic takeoff on board this brand new Airbus A321 NEO. Well, it was a nice day in the end when we climbed out of London's Gatwick. We'll kick off the in-flight review with a quick look at that amenity kit that was left on the seats before the boarding. I really did think the days of amenity kits in economy were long gone, so it was nice to see that they had the eye mask and also the earplugs, really useful for passengers that don't bring their own. I thought this was a nice little touch. When it comes to onboard entertainment, an awful lot here to start getting into. We'll kick off with a quick look at these headphones. I thought these were a lot better than the traditional economy headset, so a good start on that particular front. In terms of the entertainment system, this could be controlled directly on your phone and you could link up directly to it, or alternatively just through the touchscreen just there. The entertainment screen itself was bright and very responsive, so couldn't ask any more on this particular front. Here's a little menu just there where you can control everything with your phone, and then beyond that was then the onboard Wi-Fi. Big surprise on this particular front, it was completely free of charge and wonderfully smooth and quick for the duration of the journey. Top marks to JetBlue on this particular front. And I should add, just whilst you can see how the user interface here boots up, on my recent experiences transatlantic with both BA and American Airlines, the fees for the onboard Wi-Fi were absolutely extortionate, so it was great to see that, I have to say, from JetBlue. Next up, let's take a look at the all-important onboard dining experience. This all started off with JetBlue a little bit differently. Again, we were back onto the screen just here, where you pre-built your meal selection, and this could be done as soon as you boarded the aircraft. A couple of different choices. A few just here, there was a pesto pasta salad and then also a vegetarian option as well. You could then add a drink onto your meal as well. There was indeed a choice of both soft and also alcoholic options. I didn't indulge on this particular flight. You could also then select from a range of different snacks additionally also. Before the meal service was then brought around, I had myself an apple juice, the drinks cart came around, fairly standard economy service on this front, and then the food was brought around. In terms of presentation, things look really quite different. Just here, I wasn't quite sure what to make of the meal tray. It certainly looked pretty big, but didn't know what to make of it off the bat. As I then opened up each of the little, what felt like recyclable pots, it then revealed an absolutely phenomenal economy dining selection. I've had a number of transatlantic experiences of late where dog's dinner would be an apt description of what was served on the menu. This couldn't, however, have been more different. The presentation, overall food quality, selection indeed, was far more akin to what you might find in premium economy. Everything was fresh, looked absolutely fantastic, and particularly when it came to things like that brownie, tasted absolutely phenomenal. Top marks to JetBlue and off to a very good start on the in-flight dining front. With us now well into the flight, it facilitated a good opportunity to jump up and check out a little bit of the rest of the cabin. My first stop was the toilets. This was the one at the front of the economy cabin. Nothing super special going on here. I thought the design was a little bit edgy, a little bit unique, and they were kept nice and clean throughout the flight. The more premium or comfort section of seats was actually really quiet throughout the flight. This facilitated a good chance to jump up and head into one of these seats to give you an idea of what it was like. This was the emergency exit row. Legroom, absolute palatial. I'll let you judge, however, whether it's really worth the significant additional fee for those seats. And finally, they had a bit of a snack wall where you could jump up, help yourself to various different beverages and snacks throughout the flight. I thought this was a really nice additional touch. There were a couple of occasions during the flight where the fasten seatbelt sign came on. Generally, we had quite nice smooth conditions, but if you are someone that struggles with a fear of turbulence, heading over the Atlantic on a narrow-body jet may not necessarily be the best option. In my flying experience, the smaller planes do tend to suffer that little bit more, so may well be something just to consider. Around 90 minutes or so out from Boston, there was then a second food service that came around. It was these Planet Cafe wraps. I've had them recently with American Airlines. They're a little bit cold and soggy. It wasn't the best way of ending what was holistically a very, very good food service, but overall, can't really complain. Pretty much top marks to JetBlue on the food and catering front, I must say. So as we start our descent down out of these beautiful transatlantic skies into a fairly windy Boston, it's now a good opportunity for me to share my final thoughts on what was quite a different offering from JetBlue. Overall, I thought they were really pretty good. I booked fairly short ahead of the actual flight itself, paid £420, which currently is around $550 for my return ticket, and I thought they offered excellent value at this price point. The catering, as you've seen, without doubt was a standout. The entertainment was also fantastic, particularly with that free Wi-Fi. In terms of areas of improvement for them, I think the service is probably the greatest area. I would say some of the cabin crew on that particular flight were bordering on almost rude, but this is something that I do see quite often across the US. I should say, however, that the crew on the way back were absolutely fantastic. So overall, with JetBlue, pretty good. If you are looking at some other options for flights across the US, I've got recent reviews with both British Airways and American Airlines, so I'll pop those on the bottom of the screen just now. But otherwise, all that's left for me to say is to thank you so much for watching the video. Very much hope it was useful, and I look forward to seeing you in another one real soon.